you got to check your ego, because not only did I learn I'm not the only one who knows how to do what I'm doing, it stopped me from asking for help. It stopped me from getting a good coach. It stopped me from seeing great ideas that other people who I brought on might have. Like, I just had to, like I said earlier, it's not my baby, it's my business.
Mhm.
And I'm not the only one who knows how to do this. I am a very special, unique human being, but not that special and unique. Like,
That's
it's
humility. Holy crap.
that is new. I did not always have that. Right. That took a lot of soul searching, and that was
Mm.
working with a coach.
Yes. Yeah. That's huge. The humility, I'm going to say it's getting knocked down a couple of times before you learn that. And I grew up with well, you don't ask for help. And so I had to learn that the hard way and continue to learn that the hard way. Last week, I had the incredible opportunity to join an eWomen Summit in Calgary, Alberta, and the founder of eWomen, Sandra Yancey, was there. Pearls of wisdom. I walked away with 10 pages of notes and incredible things. And even as a business, I call myself a business advisor, a business coach, I still learned something. But the one thing that she kept saying, that if we did nothing else but to realize the importance of business coaching and hiring a coach to be able to help support your business, was hands down the biggest takeaway that I had. And so I actually have a friend and colleague and former Alberta Summer Games survivor with me, Robin Joanne Szuch. Thank you for joining me today.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
So exciting. So I'm thrilled to be able to have you on the show because we've had a number of different experiences, but I love the fact that you came with a foundation in circus, because aren't we all live in a circus?
Yeah, especially these days.
Right?
Oh my goodness.
So tell me a little, like for our audience and whatnot,
Mhm.
tell a little bit about your foundation and where you started.
So I was a kid that I was the fourth child in my family, 3 boys. I came along. My mom was like, got a little girl. All the little girl things were going to be in my life. So lots of pink little dresses, lots of frilly little things. And of course, with that came ballet class.
Mhm.
So my sweet parents, who thought they'd put me in one ballet class a week and that would just be adorable, it mushroomed into this thing that took over our lives, really. So I was 7 days a week. I was in performance companies. I did all of this stuff. And then I graduated from high school. I went to university. I did a degree in the fine arts, so a major in drama and a minor in dance. And I went off to life doing that. I moved to Toronto, as at the time you did, because the art scene here in Alberta was a little skinny still. And so off I went to Toronto, making my way, and I totally accidentally happened upon circus. I was down at the harborfront, and they had flying trapeze down there, and we were watching it. And we're like, "That's super cool!" And at that point, I had never been to traditional circus. Circus was not a part of my culture, what I knew, and I thought that was so cool. And my boyfriend at the time bought me for Christmas, I think it was 8 weeks of flying trapeze lessons. So I went in to do my 8 weeks. I was like, this is cool. It'll be a thing I do. And I saw all kinds of things. I had all of these visions in my brain all along because of the theater and the dance background together. I always wanted to mix that together and make like spectacle theater. And I was always trying to figure out, how do I take the horizontal playing field and make it vertical. And then I walked into this circus school and I was like, it already exists. This thing I want already exists. So I stopped dancing and I dropped my agent and I started training circus full time. And that's kind of how it all started for me. And then it took over my life.
Wow. Well, I definitely know about the dance world and taking over life because our oldest daughter was a competitive dancer and into gymnastics, and our oldest son into gymnastics. So totally get it.
Yeah, it starts off as a thing you put your kid in, and if they thrive in that environment, it pretty much becomes the family's new pastime for everybody. It can get pretty intense.
And then you decided to come back to Alberta and start Spectacle Blue.
Yeah, so I retired as a performer. So after I met my circus partner, we started our company, we toured for 10 years, and then we started getting to the place where we were like, okay, I think we're ready to retire from this life. As great as it is, traveling the world, um, living really out of a suitcase and our equipment, that does, as fabulous as it does reach a threshold where it starts to be like, maybe I'm ready to slow down. Plus, it's hard work on the body, you know? So we decided to sort of slowly semi-retire and wean ourselves off. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I have to do something with my life now. If I'm not going to live on the road, I got to live somewhere. And so at the time, my mom had recently passed away. And so my dad was still back here because I was born and raised in Calgary. And it just seemed like a good fit. My circus partner at the time, her boyfriend also lived here in Alberta and Calgary at the time. So we both moved back here. And then I just started to figure out, okay, what's going to be next for me? And I had a few trial and errors with things that I thought I might want to do. And I ultimately ended up opening the circus school here in Okotoks and building a teacher training program. I think that circus is sort of the newest, latest, greatest, and I love it so much, and I think every kid should be exposed to it. But also, it needs to be safe. So I built a program which I run in my own school, and I teach other teachers how to run in their school. And that's been my life now for almost 15 years here.
15 years. So you've learned a thing or two about business.
I have.
You've learned a thing or two about kids. And you've learned a thing or two about community.
Yeah.
Along the way, because we actually got to meet each other during the Alberta Summer Games. And I kind of say we're survivors, but that was a chaotic 2 years as we put through that. And I remember the first time I met you, you were talking about, I want to slingshot somebody over the dog stadium. And I'm like, okay, this is going to be fun. Let the circus begin. So
yeah, they did kibosh that, but I did get to like fly a canoe and a bicycle like 50 feet. So I feel like that was a pretty good takeaway.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But it's this ability to marry the logic side of business to the creative side of being an entertainer. And there is creativity in being a visionary that I think is really important.
Yeah. I think what I find so interesting about people, and I've seen it in people in my own communities as I've grown, because as an artist, you sort of always are an independent business person. And some people are better at that than others. And then, having some formal businesses. So my performance company was definitely run as a business. It needed to be organized. It needed to be structured so that we knew we had work when we needed work. We toured. So there's a lot of logistics that goes around that. And then when I came back and I started running businesses, I was like, I saw why some of the peers that I had, whether they were in dance or whether they were in circus, or honestly, even sometimes just people who love a thing and they build a business around it, I was like, I see why people struggle. And I struggle too. Like, I was very, very lucky. I have had some extraordinary business mentors in my life. And without them, I would not have all the knowledge that I have. But I see where people struggle without having that structure. And you absolutely can marry the two. And I actually think the creative brain has so many superpowers for business, but people don't know how to tap into them.
Yes. A lot that you just said in there. The importance of systems. Every single business guru out there, the top names, they have business mentors. They have pods that keep them accountable, keep them in check and remind them why they got in the business and how to be innovative. And so why as entrepreneurs, we forget that and we look at investing in ourselves as the key person in our business. We look at it as an expense.
We do. I don't know. I mean, maybe you have a more psychological
Mhm.
assessment of this, but I don't know. I feel like from what I know of people and from also doing some life coaching is having my own coaches, dissecting my own resistances to things. I think as we get older, like as kids, we're perfectly happy to have a coach and have a coach tell us
Mhm.
what to do, for better or for worse. As we become adults, I think it's fear. We don't want to say out loud. I mean, I don't know how many people you run into who don't want to say out loud, I don't know the answer to that question.
Yeah. It's fear, and I would add to that fear of judgment
Mm.
and what if I'm wrong and fear of failure. So if I have to go and share with somebody that I don't know what I'm doing, I'm completely lost, I'm feeling insecure, oh my God, then the world may actually fall apart. Instead of I'm taking that inner energy that's probably causing us to not pick up the phone, to not go ask that person for the business. We get it out of ourselves. We practice because sometimes we have to do that as coaches. We kind of, okay, you know what? I'm going to play the client, you play you, and let's work through that. Or let's actually map out the strategy, the plan. Let's keep you accountable. You said you were going to do this 3 weeks in a row and you didn't do it.
Yeah.
Okay, what's actually getting in the way?
I think it's interesting that you say the fear of failure and I may be wrong or it may
Mhm.
fall apart. I don't know. The likelihood of it falling apart without having the coaching is way higher than it falling apart by making it up as you go along. There's
Absolutely.
places for sure to make it up. I'm all about like try new things and do, but if you don't know what you don't know, then you don't know if what you're trying is the reason it's not working
Mhm.
or if something else is why it's not
Yeah.
working.
Less than 3% of businesses in Canada make it to 20 years.